Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the Fine Wine and Good Times podcast. I am your host, Tracy Brown. I'm a best-selling author, the director of a nonprofit, and now a podcaster. And Fine Wine and Good Times is going to be the spot where we sit and we talk about all the hot topics, all the latest things that have everybody buzzing, but I'm not here to talk about it by myself. I'm here with my girls, Tamika and Shy. Ladies, say hi to the people.
Peace and blessings, everybody.
Yes. So what's been going on this week with y'all? Let's catch up.
Well, shit. I'm trying to keep my anxiety level down. It's a lot going on in the city.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, this week was a crazy one in New York City. Subway shooter.
Yes, you hear that?
Yeah.
6 people got shot last night, I think in Brooklyn.
What?
A woman got shot just sitting in her car eating.
I'm hearing about ghost guns. What are these guns that you put together on the internet or something like that?
Some
There's
people
no tracking
print 3D
number.
guns.
That's
my
crazy.
anxiety level's a little high, so I'm going to be drinking a lot of wine tonight.
And that's good because that's the theme of the show is the Fine Wine and Good Times podcast. So we're going to discuss different wines and the things that we like. What are you sipping on tonight, Tamika?
I don't know. What is this, Trey?
It's Cavit Pinot Grigio. That's
Pinot.
the good stuff.
Yes, I like this very much. It's
Okay.
light. Get you where you want to go.
It does indeed. Shy, what are you sipping on and how was your week?
I'm sipping on some Barefoot Pink Moscato. You know I love me some Barefoot,
Okay,
girl.
yes you do. How's the Moscato though?
I love Moscato.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It's very sweet. I like sweet.
Okay, that's what's up. What's been going on in your life this week?
Work. I'm on spring break though now, so
Yeah.
Tell
I'm
the
so
people what you
happy.
do for work. So you work with children?
I do.
Okay.
I'm a teacher's assistant for kids.
Ask me.
What?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I'm a teacher's assistant for kids on the autism spectrum. So, what are we in April? April is actually Autism Awareness Month. So you see my shirt, Peace, Love,
Nice.
and Autism
I
Awareness.
love it.
Got my bracelet on, my blue eyeshadow.
Oh.
Yes,
So-
all in
girl.
theme.
Yes, blue pen.
I love it.
So I'm really representing. I
That's
love those
dope.
kids. So
I love it.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
What's up with you, Trey?
This week has been a crazy one for me too.
Ooh, girl.
I'm working on several different projects. You know,
always stay busy.
always writing something. A couple ghost writing things. You know, I got a new book called Hold You Down. It's coming out November 2nd of this year. So pre-order that one. It's gonna
Can't
be
wait for
a
that.
doozy.
Right.
And then I got this new idea. You know, I had this brainstorm the other night about a twist on urban fiction that hasn't been done yet. So I have something real exciting
Really?
up my sleeve. Yes, I'm really looking
well,
forward
you know,
to sharing
if you ever
that.
want to make any of your books into a movie,
I already know who the lead actress is, girl.
you heard.
I love it. Yes.
You had a few parts already, right?
Got a little
couple.
resume already?
A little bit.
Yes. And for those who don't know, Shy is on a single right now. It's fire. It has been my anthem this week.
You need to
Tell them
dance,
about
Cheyenne.
your song,
Wait,
Shy.
can I just say something real quick?
Of course.
Somebody need to make a dance off of this song. You know what I mean?
I
Well,
tried, but
come
it's
on.
just hard for me to do it. I feel like
I know
don't
some dancers. We can get some
Little TikTok pop.
choreographers
It
together.
actually
Just send
popped
some
up right
stuff
in the
in.
back, you guys. Tag I'm lit. Second
I'm
generation
lit.
Woo featuring me. You know, I had to put a little bars together.
Yes. Tag, I'm lit.
Always.
Okay? So, ladies, let's talk about the hot topics going on this week. You know what's been in the news. All these.
Ooh.
Every time I turn around, it's drama. But before we get into that, we have two guests joining us today. Typically, it's the three of us sitting here and talking about all different types of topics. And as you know, that could be a fun time. But for these particular topics tonight, we decided to bring in some gentlemen to give us some testosterone-filled, masculine opinions on these topics. So our first guest tonight is a gentleman by the name of Aaron. Aaron, say hello to the people.
Hello, how you doing? How you doing?
Thank you for
Tracy, thank
joining
you for having me.
Fine Wine and
Thank you
Good
for having
Times.
me.
Aaron's sipping on some wine. He's being a good sport, but his brown juice is on the way. Okay. Also joining us tonight is dear Nigel. Nigel, tell the people hello and a little
Hello,
something
people.
about yourself, if you prefer.
Hello, people. I'm Nigel. Something about myself.
Oh, they're being shy, but don't worry. Once we liquor them up, they will open up. Mm-hmm. All right, so today we want to talk about...
A little bit of a pause, a little bit.
It was a little bit of a pause right there, right? All right. That's what she said or that's what he said?
Maybe not, because it sounded a little crazy.
You know?
What?
I said, let's ply them with liquor, then they'll open up.
Yeah.
So that's what he said.
Pause.
That's what he said to his friends. Let's ply them with liquor and they'll open up.
Okay.
Right?
But if they saying that, I'm staying away.
Exactly. Those are not the guys to be hanging out with. So what we want to talk about tonight is there's been a lot of talk this week about jokes, the ability to take a joke, when a joke is appropriate or inappropriate. So the question on the table tonight is there a point where a joke goes too far? So just to give some background on why this topic came up for me, we all know about the slap heard round the world where a comedian made a bald joke about someone and then was smacked. But in addition to that, there's been other instances on social media this week where, someone made a really, I thought, lighthearted comment about, the content on somebody's page, and they wound up getting their own Instagram page deactivated. So the question is there a point where a joke goes too far? What do you guys think?
For me, it depends on who's on the end of the comment. Like for instance, have you guys? I can't. There's a comedian. He had a stand-up set.
Okay.
And he speaks about a transgender
Yes.
female.
Yes.
That was his friend.
Right.
That was a funny ass joke.
It was, and not only funny, but he spoke about her in a positive way.
Facts.
But he was attacked.
Facts,
Really?
100%.
Attacked.
Because it was
100%.
transgender babies.
Yes.
One of the funniest jokes I've ever heard in my life.
Funniest, yes, absolutely.
Can you say it here?
Well, it was a
set.
story.
It was a comedic set.
Okay.
It was
You
a
had
set,
to- all
right?
all
So he was telling a story about this transgender woman, and to me, it made me identify a little bit. Like I had a better understanding of what it is to be transgender based off of his joke.
Okay.
But some people just heard.
Like I said, it depends on who's on the other end of the comment.
It's about the
Right.
sensitivity level of the person who the joke is geared towards, I feel like.
So what they just
Not
thought that he was
necessarily,
making fun?
because the person that he was joking about found his jokes hilarious.
But what about the other
That's true.
people? It was their sensitivity level, because that person could have been like, hey, I don't care. But then if another person felt the type of way, it's like, oh, well, he needs to be canceled or whatever because I feel away. Not just because they didn't feel away,
Right.
but because I feel away.
Oh, so
So it
people
would be
can't
the-
take jokes no more. That's the
That's
problem.
what it is.
That's the problem.
That people are sensitive.
Yes.
It's on my nerves.
It would be the equivalent, Aaron, of someone making a black joke and I'm not offended, but
Right.
the rest of y'all are.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's a gray area. I feel like because I grew up on comedians who were no holds barred. Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, they did not care about
There was
anybody's
no
feelings.
such thing as politically correctness.
No
back
such
Right.
thing at
No,
all.
no.
It was
Yeah.
anything, anybody could get it. If you pull up in this audience, even if you're not in the audience, if there's a topic that they felt was relevant, they spoke on it and they really didn't get the same type of backlash that I'm seeing nowadays. I saw somebody tweet, is there even a need for comedians anymore?
That's
Because they trigger
ridiculous.
everyone.
That's like asking, is there a need for music?
Right.
Like, yes, there is a need for comedians. We need to release and laugh. And laughing makes you live long. Anybody ever heard of that? When you
Right.
laugh a little
Yes.
bit?
But the discussion that needs to be had is the key word that you just said is triggers. Like, you have millions of people walking around with triggers, don't know they have triggers, and then some that have triggers don't know why they have triggers. Like, that's what people need to sit with. Why am I triggered by this? Why does this piss me off?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we stay making comments about things without the context. Yeah, that was cool back in the day, but that's the era we came up in. We came up in sports. There was no out of bounds. Like, but you just you took it, you rolled with it, and you kept it pushing. But nowadays it's like, I'm not faulting it, but it's just different. They came up different. They didn't come up in what we came up in, so it's a different context.
Are they
So,
softer?
Yes.
I don't want to say softer. They haven't been unprepared, unprepped.
All right,
put it
you're
that
an
way.
athlete.
Where they can't even take a joke, huh?
Right.
But we can't speak about them without speaking about us. We've softened them, if we want to use the word soft. We picked them up, We drop them off. We don't let them do this. We don't let them do that. We don't let them play with dirt. You got to sanitize your hands.
Right.
Don't shake hands. Don't do this. Don't do that. So, that's the end result of it. Back in the day, it was sink or swim.
Yes.
And you figured it out. Now it's,
I'll help you.
I'll help
Right.
you.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Everybody gets a trophy for participating.
Right.
Right.
I'm sure. Like you said, like back in the days, the comedians they would know who was
They
barred.
were, yeah.
There were definitely people in that audience that was offended.
Sure, but they sucked it up.
Absolutely.
Right, they didn't go on-
100%.
Right.
Whatever it
100%.
was
They
back
could-
then,
they
I don't
couldn't.
know. No, yeah, true. They didn't go
true.
calling people talking
Right.
about whatever.
Yeah.
They ate it.
They did.
Right.
They
And
did.
wasn't-
And maybe
wasn't-
laughed at the next joke.
Right.
It wasn't
Got over
necessarily
it.
right. That's the thing that we
That's
have
true.
to look at too. It wasn't necessarily right. At the end of the day, it's like, and I don't want to switch topics, but I have the analogy, right? Like
Yeah.
racism, right?
I like
Some
a good
people
analogy.
have been so racist, but breathing it in normally that they don't realize it's racist. So now when someone's like, "Hey, look, that's racist," you're like, "What are you talking about, man? I'm just joking." So it's like we've become accustomed to that. I'm not saying it was right. I'm just saying that's what it was.
Right.
To build off of that though, it's a comedian. So comedians sometimes push the bar.
Yes.
That's what makes
and
it
that
funny.
bar may borderline racism or being anti-gay or anti-Semitic.
Exactly.
Sometimes the shit is funny.
Yes.
And you've laughed. All of us have
All
laughed
of
at
us
it.
are guilty of
Right.
it. Right. And then that's the other question then. Can you take a joke if it's at somebody else's expense but not yours? Do you get sensitive when everybody's turning and looking at you and laughing, but if the joke is on somebody over there, do you group laugh? And if that's the case, then
That's whack. If
We're
you
all
can't
guilty.
take-
yeah.
We're all guilty of
I
that.
could take a joke. You can't take a joke about yourself.
You asking me?
Yeah, you
It
know, you
depend
that
on the
younger
joke, girl.
generation. You know what I'm
From
saying?
where I'm from,
Yeah.
sometimes it's your day.
Right.
And
And
you gotta eat
everybody
it.
gets a turn.
Yes.
Well, when I was growing up, we grew up in an era where snapping, you snapped on each
Yes.
other, you snapped on each other's mother.
Yes.
I saw your mother in the store spend the food stamp, and you toughened up. You was like, I'm gonna come back with something better
Yes.
next day.
Yes. You
It
grew a
wasn't
thicker
like,
skin.
oh, mom, and let's sit down and have a meeting, and you're being bullied, and yes, that's what
That's
you mean
sink
by
or swim.
softening them up.
Sink or swim.
I wouldn't even say soft. I'm just at the end of the day, things are changing. We're either gonna respect it or we're gonna sit here looking back like, oh, it used to be like this. It's
So
not
let me
like
ask
that
you a
no
question
more.
specifically, you, Nigel, because you're an athlete. And I saw a comedian recently saying that kids nowadays are punks compared to us. We used to, ride our bikes on one wheel downhill on the handlebars, and we used to, roller skate outside on the concrete, or like we would go out without helmets and ride bikes and survive. And nowadays, you send a kid out on a scooter and they come back in a full body cast. So as an athlete, do you find that the millennial children are less? They have less bounce back. Let's say that.
I don't know if I would say let's bounce back. It once again, what you train will
Yeah.
be. So they might not be that now because they haven't been trained that in that manner.
Right.
Because another perspective is one could say, yo, they're smart. That's dumb to go down the street without a helmet on one wheel.
Right.
So we could say, yo, these mother effers are smart. They figured some stuff out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So honestly, at the end of the day, it all depends on the person. We're trying to consistently push our point of view, our way of seeing things, our way of doing things on other people. I'm cool with jokes. I laugh at myself. I
Right.
had to, right? Like, they call me doofy. They call me skinny. That didn't bother me. Them calling me skinny bothered me.
Why you pointing at me though?
No, I'm just saying that. You have
We could
muscular
get some
guys like this,
closure,
right? You got
Why
these
you
guys.
pointing at me?
Nah, I didn't point, but clearly subconsciously something's over there. We got muscular guys like this.
Right.
So when they call me skinny, and I'm like, damn, I'm doing every push-up I can. I'm lifting everything I can. I'm eating everything I can, and I'm
Right.
still skinny. That hurt.
Right.
But I still roll with it. But
It also motivated you though.
it also motivated me. However, I also understand when working with them, I understand how they could feel away. I don't agree with it, but I don't push my way on them. I understand it. I sit back like, you know what? I couldn't operate like that. But If that's the way they operate, that it is what it is. We can't force our way of being on them.
Right.
Okay, so is there any point where violence is okay in response to a joke?
For me, like I said, I'm not pushing my view on anyone. I don't think that's okay. I think where I come from, people die for that.
People die for a joke?
No, die for putting your hands on somebody
okay.
over words.
Right.
You could die for that.
Right.
So for me, I just don't think that warranted it. And for me, look, there's so many ways of doing something. You can saw my man lock yourself in a room with somebody and like, yo, let's get it. Or the adult ways, like, listen, I feel X and X about this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Is using violence in response to words an example of toxic masculinity? And furthermore, let me, as a B-side to that question,
I don't like that phrase.
you don't like that phrase, right?
neither.
You're,
nobody-
I'm with you on
generalizing
that.
Are
Man
we
is
all
a
in
man.
agreement that we don't like the phrase toxic masculinity?
No.
Absolutely
I
not.
don't like the phrase masculinity or femininity put after toxic shit. It's just toxic. Because
Okay.
a man could do it, a woman could do
Is
it, a
there
child could
hyper
do it.
masculinity?
Yes, in the gym every day. In the gym.
It's just, for me,
100%.
for me, it's just toxic. It's toxicity.
Okay.
People are just being
Period.
toxic.
So-
That's
Can
it.
I say something?
Yes.
No, I want to say this. Like you said, you know, you hit somebody over. Do you think it was it a joke or was it an insult? Because this is
Is
That's
there a
what-
fine
joke
line?
and then there's an
That's
insult.
what I said.
Like if you
It depends on
disrespect
who's the
and insult.
Who's on the end of the comment?
Right. Is there a fine line between, joking and insulting? So, for instance, when I was growing up, I've been called every variation of shorty there is. Small change, little bit, half pint, everything, And when you're young, you don't want to stand out in any way. Nigel didn't want to be the tall, skinny kid, just like I didn't want to be the shortest kid in the class. So, there is a fine line that you can go from calling me shorty to then calling me a midget,
Right.
And so then or you can go from calling him tall and saying, how's the weather up there, to Andre the Giant, or whatever. I don't know what you might have heard.
Right.
Here's this
Fine
perspective for me, right?
Fine
Yeah.
line.
There is a fine line. Like, and that's what people don't realize. But they're the same thing. Like, winning and losing is the same thing. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? Like, in order to get one, you have to have the other. Mm-hmm. And it's a fine line between that. I think that we just don't think far enough outside the box. You have certain people that would turn that into money. That joke was made about a particular movie, so how about you go and do the movie?
Right.
They're
right.
talking about how short you are. How about you go make shirts that say that and make money off
right,
of that?
Right.
Like, that's the thing. But yeah, is it a fine line? For me, it's this kind of, they say there's truth in every joke, right? So it's the same thing. Yeah, it's a fine line.
But can I say something though? That this, you have to go back to what he was joking about, which was her condition, which was it's
No,
an illness.
no, he didn't joke about her condition. He
Well,
joked
he talked
about her
about-
bald head. He
Which,
didn't say
all right,
anything.
well, yeah, okay. He joked about her bald head,
Yeah.
but that's the reason why she's bald is because she has a condition. I guess he didn't know about it, but a lot of people knew about it, and I just think that, God,
I didn't know she had alopecia.
it's it's embarrassing with somebody like if you have cancer, if you have one leg, and they point you out,
Right.
in a room full of
People. Yeah.
that's
what
not.
my
But it
perspective
wasn't.
is.
It wasn't like it was an actor on the stage doing it. He's a comedian,
Right.
Right.
and he was just freestyling.
I'm not
I don't think. I don't
justifying
think.
He had
I don't
actually
think
hit
he.
another couple
I don't
first.
think. I don't think he went out there with the intent on
No.
doing that.
Right.
No.
I don't think he was being malicious or anything,
No.
but
And that.
I mean, she has a condition. It's not like she shaved her head and it's like, oh, get over it.
But he
they
thought
telling
she
her
did.
to get over this shit. It's something that she can't get over. She's living with this every day. It bothers her. We have to acknowledge that
That's
too.
true.
Right.
This is her crown. This is her hair. This is her everything. This is her self-esteem. And now you got me making fun of me and my condition on a world stage in front of all of these people that don't look like me.
Right.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And yeah, my husband's gonna stand up for me.
Right.
Now, what he did was wrong. He shouldn't have did that. He could have handled it a different
Yeah.
way. But come on, don't embarrass our sisters.
Right.
You know.
That was a comment I saw also. Somebody on Twitter said, there's an audience full of people. Why did you go to the one black couple right there and pick on them? So there, I guess there's something to be said about that. But another layer of the joke is that G.I. Jane, the G.I. Jane original star, Demi
good movie.
Moore, right?
Demi Moore?
Great movie.
Yes.
Demi Moore.
Okay.
And Demi
Beautiful.
Moore was in that movie with The Entanglement. Remember what was the movie? Indecent Proposal.
Indecent
right?
Proposal.
Where she had an entanglement.
Okay.
So it could be that he was alluding to G.I. Jane.
No, Trace.
No, I'm reaching.
no.
All right.
Yeah,
all
because
right.
I didn't know what G.I. Jane was.
Okay,
And when
all
I
right.
Googled it, I was like, oh shit, because I seen, like, the first thing I seen was, like, she was
Yes,
bald.
yes.
And I was like, that, to me, in my opinion, I was like, that's fucked up.
Right.
Like,
Right.
You know?
But now, do you think that slap was for that joke or for all the jokes
can
that
I
have been?
answer this?
Yes.
okay, I'll go after you.
Diane, why you think you in school?
No, because I want her to finish first, but I want her to know, like, I had an answer. But go.
I don't think that joke fueled his actions.
Okay. What do you think did?
His prior
The comments on the red carpet
His-
leading
right,
up.
right.
Yeah.
The tears in his wife's eyes.
Homie was just a victim of circumstance. That's all.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it. Because somebody made a joke about them
Yes.
prior to that night.
At that,
and
at
nothing
the show.
at the same show.
About
Wanda
the hair?
Sykes.
No.
What did they
No.
One
say?
of, a
About
couple
the
other comedians
entanglement.
had made some
Yes.
jokes.
Not about
No.
that.
About
her hair?
About them getting in the show.
Right.
Oh, okay. All right.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I think homie was just a victim
I
of circumstance.
do
That's it. It
too.
was just built up, pent
I
up
do too.
frustration.
he had
agree.
enough.
And
Yeah.
he
He's like, fuck it, I'm
right.
going up
Yeah.
there.
right.
I'm gonna
He was in the
fuck.
wrong place at the wrong time.
Absolutely.
We need to
As
sit with
women,
our triggers.
a
Like
question-
I said, we need to sit with our triggers. It's
Right.
just that simple.
Yeah,
Sit with
yeah.
that.
But real
because
quick-
Yeah.
It's way deeper than that, and
fucked
people are
up.
dealing with stuff. My thing is this, right? On Monday, this pisses you off, but on Tuesday, it doesn't.
Yeah.
So clearly, that's something for you to sit with. We just literally, like when I talk to the kids, it's the same thing. Something happens, it's
just
action
put that
reaction.
in context for the people. You work with children as a mentor, right? And
Mentor, what don't
coach.
I do? So like whatever's needed.
Right.
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 It's not necessarily a title, but the thing is this, right? Even when speaking to them, and I let them know, listen, there's some adults that don't know some of these questions that I'm asking you. So if you don't know the answer, it's okay, but sit with it.
Yeah.
It's not for you to answer right now, right? Not knowing your triggers or not like mental health is legit and
Yeah.
real. And I'm pretty sure if you follow both of their backstories, like even the comedian's show
Yes.
was about being bullied.
Yes.
And he found a funny way to
He
speak
did.
about being bullied.
Yes.
So we're literally looking at people that are clearly have mental health issues, and because they have a certain status or whatever the case may be, we're looking at them, and some of us have made them role models for whatever reason.
We don't see them when they go home.
And we don't see them when they go home.
Right,
And
we
we
don't
don't
know
see
who
the
they-
stuff that they're dealing with at home that
Yes.
makes them
I'm
react.
sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, brother, but do you think Will Smith has a mental, you think that was mental right there? What he did? That was a
Mental
mental
health?
issue? Yeah, you think like
To
something's
laugh
going
at
on?
something at first and then see
had a
people's
break.
reaction, and then you
Yeah.
have a
He
breakdown.
definitely had a break.
You snap.
And then to shout what he shouted afterwards, he broke.
there was
Yeah,
something
he
missing.
snapped.
What do you
snap.
think, Tamika?
Well, because I think like a lot of people use that. Oh, I'm not saying y'all do. I'm not saying.
Even
I'm
if you
just
was, say
curious. Because that word gets thrown around a lot. Like the man who shot up these 6 people.
Yes.
Oh, he had a mental issue. How do you know that? How do you know he just wasn't like, yo, I just want to go out. He could, just clear
You want me
his
to answer
day.
that question?
What?
Because I was Will Smith.
What you mean?
And I had a break.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Tell us about that.
And it caused a physical altercation that
Was it-
I'm not that type of person.
Was it a similar situation? Was there a woman involved?
Absolutely.
Now that brings me to my next. Put a pin right there, ladies and gentlemen. Is there a point where a woman? We know we have a lot of power. Is there a point where you know that you can escalate a situation with your man?
Yes.
And do you wield that power wisely?
You okay?
Are you
No, she asked you the
That's
question.
on
I'm
you.
not a lady.
I'm waiting on you.
Glad I'm
Yeah.
on this side of the
so
table. Saying.
I got a question. I mean, I got a story about that.
Okay.
for me, myself,
Yes.
it wouldn't be my man. It would be my dad.
Okay.
Period.
Right.
But I don't know because you know your man, right?
Yes.
So it's like, okay, so like for instance, there was this woman who the guy was too close to her in Dunkin' Donuts.
Okay.
And she went outside, called her boyfriend. He pulled up, killed the guy.
Killed him.
All because he was too close to her. And she felt uncomfortable. They got into an argument, whatever
Oh,
it
now
was.
that's problematic for me.
But
He killed him.
But according to some people, that's chivalry.
No, it's not.
All right, but
Okay.
No, that is
Could that
not.
have-
She
could
called
that have
him with
happened
the
to you
intention
and
of
your
him doing that because she
No.
knew
No.
her
No,
man.
I want to know
No.
about your situation.
Yes, and now
because you say you.
Yes, I would like to hear
Yeah, what happened?
what triggered you to come out of character like that.
She put her hands on me.
And in that moment, you saw red,
Absolutely.
Oh.
100%.
and you came out of your character.
100%.
Yeah.
And
So
I
Was that just
and I
like a
regret it to this
blackout
day.
moment, or was that
100%.
mental issues?
Both.
You blocked, like you
Both.
you snapped. You saw red, and you had an out of body experience, and you identified that in this guy in the audience.
100%. I was
Yeah.
Will Smith.
Okay. Okay.
So that was his blackout.
He-
was
100%.
and it was
Flip.
triggered by because
Oh.
like Nigel referenced, he laughed first.
He did.
And then looked at his wife, saw the reaction of her, and that snapped.
And let me throw this out there too. The laugh. Some of us are looking at the laugh as he thought it was funny, but that laugh could have been like, "You
Uncomfortable.
mother-"
This
Right.
facts.
I'm nervous
that's
because the
true.
camera was
Can I
on
say-
him. Like,
Right,
come on.
you know what I'm saying? And then it's like just playing the part because you have to. You're a certain status, so you're
Right.
just playing.
That.
But it's like, yo, I'm
And
dying
then
on
that's
the
probably
inside.
when
man.
Didn't he
snapped.
mention that in his acceptance speech? He was like, we as celebrities, we have to come on, we have to take
He
the
said
shit,
that.
we have to smile and act like it ain't bothering us. That's
Right.
exactly what that was in the
Yeah.
audience. He was smiling and being phony and fake. Well, I don't want to say phony and fake because, you know, they
He
got to
was-
do they,
Right.
you know, he
He's
got to
being
take the
politically
shit.
correct.
Yeah, yeah, fuck that nigga. Just to keep the peace. And they do that a lot because I'm pretty sure, like, it's a lot of comments made at dinner parties or little, the little parties
Yeah,
they be having,
cocktail parties,
cocktail
yeah.
parties.
You know
there
what
you
that
go,
man
and
has
shit like
gone
that.
through for the past 2 months as far as social media?
But
as
he
far as
need
people
only
comment,
look. He need only look
tweeting,
to his right, to
memes.
his
Right,
wife.
so he's had it.
Right.
But
That-
he need only look to the right to his wife because we wouldn't know any of what we know if she wasn't out there telling it.
On the red.
And then when you talk as a celebrity, when you bring something to the forefront, there's no off switch. You don't get to make an album called Lemonade and then say we can't comment on it. No, when you brought it out, we're gonna talk about it. So in all fairness, nobody on the red carpet would have had anything to say about anything except the movie if it weren't for the fact that they were bringing their personal issues to
But I
the
don't-
forefront.
Nah,
But
he
I don't-
probably still would have said the joke.
But I don't.
That's
I,
true.
Why did he
All
have
right.
to say anything about them?
But then, to your
He's a
point, he wouldn't have
comedian.
been triggered.
I mean,
That's
but
what
there's so
comedians
many
do.
people in that audience. He could have just.
But he did. He went to Penelope Cruz
Yeah,
and
but
Javier
this is the
Bardem.
thing, though. Chris, remember Oscar So White when Jada,
Yes. Yes.
she banned it? He was talking all of that
was.
shit
He was.
about them.
Yes.
Now you go out there, you see them right there. Just leave them alone.
Leave him alone.
Nah,
Yes,
that's
leave
not
him
that's
Leave
not
them
what that's not what a good
alone.
comedian does.
And then
That's not what a
but then
good
he wound
comedian
up paying the
does.
ultimate price.
Hey.
You know?
he didn't pay. Did he pay the price? His tickets went up.
Will pay the ultimate price.
You know, but,
But
at the
I mean,
end of
he's
the day,
forever a punchline.
yeah. But beyond that, that's funny. I see what you did right there.
You
But
like that, right?
the-
Little double entendre.
But beyond that though, right? All jokes is like, I'm about accountability. Mm-hmm. We be talking about
Yes.
oh this and that, and then this is how we
React.
are
Right.
reacting with each other,
Right.
Instead of modeling the and like I said,
They gave him a standing ovation.
but that's my
They was crying and yes.
yeah. But this
I
is
was
my
in my
point.
living room like
Accountability,
yes, Will.
accountability.
Would Brad
Because
Pitt
if-
ever have gone up there and slapped Will Ferrell?
Yes.
No.
Yo, if this was The
Yeah,
Rock
the people-
saying
I
that joke,
believe
this
so.
wouldn't have went like that.
Never.
If this was
Depends on-
anyone
that's a
else,
fact.
You don't
like,
think it'd be
I
going
agree.
down at the
Facts.
Country Music Awards?
Nah, it would have been like, yo, let's talk.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
at the end of the day,
Right.
we all got to be accountable for. And like I said, I'm not even gonna call it wrong. For me, that would be wrong. If that was his brand, that would be wrong, right? I mean, that would be right. That's his
Right.
brand.
Right.
That's not his brand. That's not what we know him at. So
He's
you're
a
not even
comedian.
like you're not even.
You're
at
not
the end
even
of the
staying
day,
true to type.
for me, relationships like we, and it's nuts to me. For me, it's like, yo, everybody's like, oh, that's you protected such and such. There's more than one way to skin a possum. There's plenty of other ways to protect. Because at the end of the day, part of protecting is protecting that brand. What that did was not good for that
Not
brand
at all.
At that point-
it's like, yo, chill, honey. That's not it right now.
Nah.
Right.
Not right.
No,
Right,
right
at
now.
that point,
right.
his brand didn't matter.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
But for
Yeah,
me,
at that point.
for me, part of like if I have a woman, part of me protecting her is making sure she's not looking crazy. Mm-hmm. So if we, and this has happened before in a past relationship, like we out and I see my woman, we've done work together, and you're not even my woman.
Right.
And when you about to look crazy, I'm like, yo, let's go pray.
Yeah.
We good.
Right.
And then you like locked in, you was like, all right, we good. And then it's back focused. Because my thing is like, I know what that was for, what we were doing business for,
Right,
right?
right.
And that would have messed that up. And that went against the message, that went against the script that
Looking
you
at
wrote
the
and
bigger
everything.
picture. The bigger picture.
Yes.
Is the bag.
Right.
That's it.
The
Right.
bigger picture is your soul. This is what it boils down to.
His
It's
soul
your
was hurting,
soul.
brother.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
When he
He's
after,
still
when he
hurting,
sat
what?
down, you could see it in his face. That
For
man,
me.
that man
For me.
was
So if he would have just slapped him and just went and sat down and wouldn't have said, keep my wife's name out your
Nah,
fucking
him
mouth.
going up-
That to me would have been better.
Or if he would've just
sat
yelled,
in the
"Keep my
audience
wife's name out your
and
fucking
just
mouth."
not gotten physical,
Like
that would have
either
been
one.
as even more powerful.
He could have
Yeah.
went
You
up
know?
there,
That-
snatched the mic,
And-
fried him with a joke.
Right.
Or
right.
been like, yo, nah, or
Exactly.
waited till afterwards, and then he
Afterwards.
would have looked like the hero.
Hero.
And then, because at the end of the day, we're discussing everything but all the monumental
Things
stuff that happened
Exactly.
I'm
there.
so upset about
Yes,
that.
yes.
3 women hosted.
Yes.
A black man produced
Yes, the most
show.
diverse
We not
Oscars
talking
in
about none
history.
of that shit.
Samuel
I know.
Jackson.
You know, very
Beyonce
much
came
Finally
out.
getting something.
Beyonce after
Ivy.
5 years.
Like, come
Beyonce came
on.
out.
The
With
deaf
Beyonce
community
is
was
never
having a
coming
moment
back
that
out.
night. Yes.
She's never coming back out, Beyonce.
I agree.
That was it. They drove her back in.
So on that note, everybody lift your glass.
I'm empty.
What we doing?
That's
little-
all right.
it's a
We're
shot
gonna
at the
refill
bottom.
you. You got a little swig at the bottom. So I think we can all agree that this society needs to take a little chill pill and not take itself so seriously. Do we all agree
Good
on
luck.
that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Nigel has a little nuanced opinion about that. Are you somewhat on board with it?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. Well, cheers, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to this episode of Fine Wine and Good Times. If you haven't already done so, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you know when we have uploaded new content. Thank you. See you soon.
Deuces.